Okay, here we see a 2008 Land Rover Range Rover Sport, and this is their normally aspirated V8 engine. Looks like it's designed after the Ford V8. Dual overhead cam, rather an exotic intake manifold. Now this is a used car, well over 100,000 miles on it, and what we're having troubles with is the plastic housing here was leaking, and it appeared that the seal drain was leaking on the water pump. Now obviously before it went to auction they had put plenty of stop leak in it, so we flushed out the stop leak thoroughly, and now we're getting ready to install new parts. So here through eBay I got a very nice looking plastic manifold, and this includes the thermostat, and we'll take it apart and inspect it to be sure it's installed correctly. New thermostat and new coolant temperature sensor. Now one thing you want to be sensitive to here is I notice they have a nice clip right here to keep these two halves together. Obviously there's an O-ring sealing it, and of course I have new O-rings there at all of the flanges. We really don't put anything to speak of on it, maybe just a little silicone grease or nothing, but make sure that the surfaces are very clean. And of course with the new water pump we have a brand new gasket. So of course the brand new gasket, make sure it's installed correctly, and away we go. Now on this design the actual Viscous fan clutch mounts to this idler, so this has a separate shaft and bearing assembly for the fan clutch. We're not supporting a fan with this water pump, so obviously the bearing isn't under the stress that it normally is, just the side thrust of the belt. But obviously after 150,000 miles or so, seal drain gives up on the, or I should say the carbon wipe seal on the water pump gives up and it starts to leak. One thing is when you're removing this fan clutch, obviously I need a 36mm wrench and hold it properly, and this does use left-hand threads, so kind of pay attention to that. So what do I mean by left-hand threads? That means that I would turn clockwise to loosen and counterclockwise to tighten, and that's common with a lot of fan clutches. The belts look to be in good shape, everything else is pretty good shape. So new water pump, new water manifold, and away we go. It is a little tricky to get the water manifold up off this flange. Be gentle, it just barely clears the plastic intake manifold. I thought I was going to have to take the plastic intake manifold off, which wouldn't have really been that much of a problem, but it came out. Now we're ready to go back together. Okay, here we've reassembled our 2008 Land Rover Range Rover Sport, and this of course is the Ford V8 engine, or Ford modeled V8 engine. Wasn't too bad. Everything's back together. We got the plastic manifold, new thermostat, new water pump. Went ahead and have run it and bled the system. I'll be topping it off here in just a moment. We are ready for a road test. Obviously we need to put the fan back. Now this is interesting. We have an engine driven Viscous clutch pan, but here we have a electronic control, so I can control the lockup of the fan electronically, and that's a nice feature. Now this is easy to put back. However, don't forget you need a good 36mm proper fan wrench and a way to of course anchor the pulley, and usually that comes together nicely as in a set. Put a little anti-seize there on the nut, and remember this is left-handed thread, so I'm going to be turning it counterclockwise to tighten it. And there's a little cover here that is removed and allows me to just slide this right down in place, and so that's what we're doing right now. So let's go ahead and slide it down and carefully thread it on the shaft. Now I've carefully started the threads, and of course as you can see, turning it counterclockwise I'm actually tightening the threads. A little bit of anti-seize certainly is a good idea. I'm going to tighten it down with the wrench. Now don't have to get carried away. Good and snug, I don't want it coming loose, but it's not going to come loose. Why? Well, because the action of the engine driving the fan seeks to tighten it, not loosen it. So it'd be very strange for it to loosen. It'll continue to tighten. So there we go. But I am going to tighten it a little. All right, here's my 36mm opened-end wrench, and the second tool is actually for a BMW. BMW uses that Viscous fan clutch, but they use a much smaller size than 36mm. This obviously would fit a variety of vehicles, and Land Rover is one of them. Okay, here we have our 2008 Land Rover, Range Rover Sport. Has a new water pump and a new plastic thermostat manifold, and there was a correct coolant leak. This is an auction car. It's being prepared for sale, just about ready, and we're ready for a road test. So here we go. The vehicle can be safely driven. Don't have to worry about it overheating. So we're off. This is the normally aspirated V8 for the Range Rover Sport. It has plenty of torque, plenty of power. Certainly a premium luxury car. Elaborate all-wheel, four-wheel drive system. Okay, here we I take it for a good road test. Well, what I have right here, this is actually the air bleed for the cooling system, and what you want to do, there we go, just crack it a little bit. I don't want to take it off because the system's under pressure. As you can see, there's no more air in it. This is the highest place it is, so I saw a little drip of antifreeze coming out, so that's good. As you can see, this is considerably higher than the pressurized reservoir bottle, so we're in good shape. Got a nice 50-50 mix of quality antifreeze. Now what happens is that on Range Rover they're using the Dex Cool Orange. Well, I don't want to use the Dex Cool Orange. I'm using the high quality Prestone. It is green in color, but Prestone assures us on the bottle this is exactly what we need. Now there's a family of different type of antifreezes, and I guess the latest and the best is the hybrid organic acid technology high oat antifreeze. And of course there was some mistakes made back in the early 2000s, but here as we come up to 2020 the industry has figured out their mistakes and come out with a nice premium universal coolant, and that's what we're using, the Prestone brand. Regardless of its color, whether it's blue, green, or orange, hey, blue is usually European, pink is usually the Asian, and green, well, hey, who uses green anymore? All right, I don't have any leaks, nice and tight, no squealing from the belt, engine's running real nice and smooth. Some other issues on the vehicle, but as far as the cooling system is concerned, we're all done. There is an engine beauty cover that we'll carefully wash and place back, and there's an underside shield, a gravel shield that we'll clean up and replace, and then this vehicle will be prepared for sale. Let's take a look at the vehicle overall though. 2008 Range Rover, 137,975 miles, slightly more than that. Notice that I have interesting custom wheels. As I drive the vehicle though, it's quiet and smooth, so they're not an excessively rough ride. Here we see the auction sticker. When it says title absent, that's not a problem because the auction will guarantee to give us the title within 30 days. So, in fact, I don't believe we've even paid for it yet. That's the way the used car auctions work. Yeah, we don't pay for it, we pay interest on it. So there we go. All right. A few more issues to deal with on the vehicle, but as you can see, the body is in excellent condition. Paint is in excellent condition. Everything's ready to go. We have a few little cosmetic issues there, but overall very nice and clean. Okay, now this vehicle hasn't been thoroughly detailed yet, but we can see here's the cargo compartment. Obviously the seats fold down. Here I just simply have the engine cover and the gravel shield that will go back. This is just strictly a manual lift gate. Nice looking leather upholstery. Usually what gets the most wear is the front seats, both the driver's seat and the passenger seat in excellent condition. There we see the dash pad, excellent condition, no marring. Steering wheel, excellent condition. Transmission shifts very smooth. I have no check engine light. I do have a brake warning lamp, and that is actually for the electronic parking brake system. We will be dealing with that. Very clean interior. All windows work. Okay, here we're finishing our road test of the vehicle. Steering wheel is in excellent condition. The suspension and the steering system, there's no excessive looseness. The vehicle rides very smooth. Steering wheel is straight and it does not pull to the right or left, but tracks true. Oftentimes when we're looking at a used car, the interior is an issue.